Hello and welcome to Meridian Tonight.
The headlines in the south this Wednesday evening. Victims of the Cuts, the organisation that promotes social contact for people with learning difficulties, fears for the future.
It's important that people are allowed to form relationships, get married and settle down and have the same opportunities in life that you and I have.
Just dropping in, how a pilot has become best friends with a couple after crashing his plane on their bungalow.
And a marathon effort to mark an historic sporting event and its connection with a record-breaking athlete.
Also in tonight's programme, a host of famous faces. Brenda Blethyn on playing detective in a new ITV drama, and why she holds one of the South's coastal towns so dear to her heart.
Even though we were poor growing up, you know, we had the seaside. Even in the winter time, it's great to play on the beach.
And comedian Vic Reeves tells us why he's gone all potty over Kate and Will's wedding.
What I'm achieving is a plate for the happy couple to have the crumpets off in the morning.
Good evening. It's their lifeline to happiness, fulfilment and even lifelong love. But tonight, a charity that supports people with learning difficulties across Hampshire is under threat, the latest target for financial cutbacks.
Organisers accept their work is controversial, but argue its members are as entitled as anyone else to social activities and romance.
Those who use the service, including a newly engaged couple, say it's changed their lives and they'll be left isolated and lonely if it folds. Christine Alsford has more.
Romance blossomed for Mandy and Jason when they met through a highly unusual group for people with learning difficulties.
Got engaged on the 14th of February, on Valentine's Day, so it was the best day of my life actually. I had no relationships, I was single for ages, so, and I joined this group and it
just changes your life completely.
Yeah, it changes your life completely.
But the Fareham-based charity that brought them together is now under threat. Funding has run out for Stars in the Sky and cutbacks have hit it hard.
It's going to be really sad if this really closes. It's going to be a really sad event.
It may well be seen as controversial by some people, but it's important that people are allowed to form relationships, get married and settle down and have the same opportunities in life that you and I have. It's important. Why should they be denied that? And it would be absolutely devastating for the project to lose its funding now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mandy and Jason initially used a dating service run by the charity, the same one now being used by Holly and Mike. The charity says adults with learning difficulties can long for romance, but often need support and a safety net. A chaperone is discreetly on hand throughout.
I should just be there in the background if they need support. It gives them everything that we take for granted. It gives them the social life that we all have.
No.
Thank you. Please.
Sir.
Most of our members have never had a date.
Anything else I can get for you?
No, that's it, thank you.
Enjoy your meals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How important is it that you just have somebody to share your life with?
That, for me, at the moment, seems like the be-all and end-all of my life.
I haven't had a date for quite a few years, so I thought it'd been a good night out, and we simply got on really well, which is nice.
Stars in the Sky is as much about friendship as romance. They're currently rehearsing for a production of Mamma Mia, with some of the 180 people with learning difficulties currently on their books. Staff are working unpaid for the next few months, but without £50,000 of new funding, this social lifeline for some of the most vulnerable people in our region will soon be lost. Christine Alsford for Meridian Tonight.
Their house was damaged and their garden wrecked, but Roy and Pam Gosling have forgiven the man who did it, and they have even become friends.
They're at home last September when a light aircraft being piloted by 75-year-old Brian Davis lost power and crashed into their home at Netley Marsh in Hampshire. And now Brian has been back to the scene of the crash for the first time. Richard Jones reports.
They've become the best of friends. So much so that they're able to laugh as Brian Davis talks about some of the wreckage he left in Roy and Pam Gosling's garden. This was the dramatic scene 8 months ago when Brian's plane crashed when its engine failed. The roof of the house was damaged and a greenhouse was demolished, but Pam was more concerned about what had happened to Brian.
I just felt I wanted to know how he was, make sure he was all right. No permanent injuries. Contacted him and contacted the police, and they gave my number to Brian and he telephoned me from hospital.
I really thought I'd have a very irate lady on the other end of the phone, and she was incredibly kind to me. She said, no, that's fine, everything's been covered by the insurance policies and we don't hold you responsible for anything, which I felt was, as I say, very generous.
Pam and Roy spent several hours with next-door neighbours while Brian and his passenger were removed from the wreckage and the plane was made safe.
The greenhouse ended up wrapped around the wing, I think, and the water butt, and well, it was just a mess. Glass everywhere. I finally got my greenhouse back in January. The rebuilding was done very, very quickly, which was good, but it was really just the garden that didn't really matter too much.
Brian and his passenger were injured, but has he been put off flying?
Oh no, it hasn't put me off. Good Lord, no. No, it's great fun flying, and cheaper than golf.
Richard Jones for Meridian Tonight.
A 21-year-old man from Buckinghamshire has been jailed for life for murdering his mother. Usman Shahzad pleaded guilty to attacking 40-year-old Asia Shahzad with a machete at her home in Aylesbury last October.
A man and woman have appeared in court charged with the murder of a man in Brighton. Jonathan Ellison, who was 48, was found dead by friends in his ground floor flat last Friday. David Soul and Denise Antonia, who are both in their 30s, were remanded in custody.
Now, for years it's been a nightmare for commuters from Sussex and Surrey, but today Network Rail revealed plans to improve London Bridge Station. It will allow the number of trains passing through the station to triple from 8 to 24 every hour. And as Charlotte Wilkins reports, there'll be more seats available as well.
The morning rush at Brighton Station. These passengers are lucky. The Easter break has eased congestion a bit, but their train soon fills up.
This is a typical journey for commuters travelling to London Bridge. Most of the seats get filled up just after Brighton, so other passengers getting on have to stand the rest of the way.
It's nice when I can get a seat. You get used to it.
But today, Network Rail announced plans which could radically change journeys to London for thousands of passengers across the south.
Currently, London Bridge is one of the busiest stations within the UK and can just about handle the number of passengers that come through it each day. About 250,000 people get on and off at the station at present, and we anticipate that growth to continue over the next few years such that it goes beyond saturation. What we're proposing to do is completely rebuild the station such that it has a concourse underneath all the platforms that will be bigger than any other station in London and can handle growth to the next generation and beyond.
The complex 5-year project will get underway in 2013. The number of tracks going through the station will be increased, allowing 3 times the number of services per hour to call at London Bridge. Network Rail say trains will be more frequent, more reliable, and will travel to and from more destinations. Newer and longer trains will hopefully put an end to the cramped and confusing conditions which many passengers have to put up with day after day. Charlotte Wilkins at London Bridge for Meridian Tonight.
More headlines, and bidding was brisk as a rare collection of sporting prints went under the hammer in Berkshire today. The paintings were collected over a quarter of a century by an American banker. His name was Norman Bobbins. While not all of the 800 pictures were sold at the Druitt's auction house at Donington near Newbury, some of them went for more than their estimated value.
A round-the-clock guard is underway at Chichester Cathedral, where a pair of peregrine falcons are expected to hatch their clutch of eggs this week. The birds have been breeding there for 11 years, and risks include other peregrines competing for territory.
Now he achieved something no one thought was physically possible, running a mile in under 4 minutes. Today at the athletics track in Oxford, where Sir Roger Bannister made that historic run 57 years ago, another man pushed his body to the limit, hoping to complete 66 marathons in 66 days. Nick Harper takes up the story.
1, 2, 3.
Another day, another marathon. Andy is running one a day for 66 days. Each one 31 miles. That's 5 miles longer than a usual marathon. And with no rest days, he says it's about taking one day at a time.
It's definitely a mental battle. Today, I'm delighted to be in Oxford, but 125 laps of a 400-metre running track is definitely a mental battle. My father had a great phrase he used to say, son, he says, pain is just mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And I often think about that when I'm going through the day. I can do anything 6 hours at a time.
Andy's here in the shadow of the man who changed running history. Sir Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile here at Iffley Road Athletics Track 57 years ago.
One thing that Sir Roger Bannister proved was that great achievement is done by breaking the mental barriers as well as the power of your dream of achievement.
He's hoping to beat the world record for consecutive ultra-marathons and with it raise £1 million for the Soldiers' Charity.
We've got a number of soldiers from the barracks here today who will run part of the 125 laps. But it's something to do one of those, let alone 66. So yeah, we're very proud of him and glad to be supporting him and the charity.
So this is what Andy and his team are touring the country in. Each day it's a different city, so after the race they pack up their kit, they pile onto the bus, Andy throws his sweaty running kit in the back of the van and they motor off to their next destination. Another one down, that's 36 now, but Andy will have to do it all again tomorrow. Nick Harper in Oxford for Meridian Tonight.
Good luck, Andy.
Inspirational stuff. Now, a reminder of our main news in the South this evening. A charity organisation in Hampshire that promotes social contact for people with learning difficulties fears cuts in funding could threaten its future.
And there's good news for commuters from Sussex and Surrey. Network Rail has revealed plans to improve London Bridge Station, which will help ease congestion.
If you think you have a story we should know about, you can email us. Our address is meridiantonight@itv.com, or you could always give us a ring. Remember, calls are free on BT landlines, but other operators may well charge.
It's nearly 6:14. Still to come on Meridian Tonight, Luke Castiglione has the weather forecast, plus Brenda Blethyn on why her starring role in a new ITV detective drama has so much appeal.
The harder the puzzle, the more I like it. If you had to get a wardrobe through a keyhole, I might never solve it, but I would love trying to solve it.
Time now to see what stories are making the national news. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on the ITV News, female bomb disposal expert Captain Lisa Jade Head is named as the latest soldier to die in Afghanistan. Also tonight, designed to cause real harm. Police condemn the parcel bombs targeting the Celtic manager and 3 high-profile fans. And the secrets of the street guards' preparations for the royal wedding. John Alistair me for that and more at 6:30.
Now, they date back from medieval times, but still hold the same significance for Christians all over the world.
The Passion Play dramatises Jesus Christ's last week on earth and his resurrection. And as we approach Easter, many are being staged right across our region. Divya Kohli has more.
Unless you let me wash your feet, to do what is against the glories, the practice, the sense of this world, then you can have no part of me.
The most important time in the Christian calendar is approaching, and so rehearsals for Passion Plays begin.
Hands, head, heart as well.
As the last week of our Lord's life is a drama, really. I mean, it is about truth, it is about sacrifice, it is about courage, all the great human emotions, and so it goes very, very well in a drama. That's how it needs to be presented.
The Narrow Road is a Passion Play taking place in Hampshire by theatre company Riding Lights, already seen at Winchester Cathedral and due to Tor, Romsey and Ringwood.
Although it's very familiar territory in terms of what it's actually dealing with as a drama, we try to kind of take it from a slightly unusual angle. So the Palestinian context is really important to us. Also the understanding of the business of crucifixion, which I think is one of those things which is almost impossible to do on stage because you know it's being cheated.
There's been a real resurgence in passion plays like this one, and their importance is great. And that's because they remind us of the real essence of Easter and what we really should be celebrating.
The purpose and the vision of our play here is to remind people of the meaning of Easter. You know, there are generations growing up now of people that don't know the origins of Easter and Christmas, and so what we're seeking to do is just to tell people that this is what Easter is all about for us.
I'm playing the role of Mary Magdalene. I'm so proud to be playing that role. Obviously, Mary Magdalene in the Bible was a close follower of Jesus Christ. So my role is with the followers, and we sort of sing and we worship him. It's wonderful.
Many thousands visit events like this, a street version of the drama in 2008. Passion plays date back from medieval times, but its significance is still relevant today. Divya Kohli for Meridian Tonight.
Now, she's one of our best known and loved actresses who's seen success on television, in the theatre and on the silver screen.
Brenda Blethyn's latest project sees her starring in a new detective series here on ITV1. It's called Vera and starts at the beginning of May.
She spoke to Helen James about the show and about the Kent seaside town she holds dear to her heart.
Award-winning actress Brenda Blethyn has had an illustrious film career, but it's the first time she's played a detective.
So what's the link?
Who's refreshingly down to earth.
If you saw her in the street, the last thing you think she was a detective. She looks more like a bag lady, frankly. At my time of life, it's wonderful when such a superb character lands in your lap.
Detective Chief Inspector Vera Stanhope is driven by demons, obsessive about work, courageous and witty.
What's that from? Fortune cookie?
She doesn't suffer fools lightly.
Just get out! Absolutely no nonsense. Jeannie Long.
What sort of parts of you are in Vera then?
Oh, I do love solving puzzles and brain teasers. Well, we didn't have a television when we were kids, so Dad used to set us problems to do.
You grew up in Ramsgate, didn't you?
Oh, I go back to my hometown, Ramsgate, as often as I can. It's a lovely place. It's such a comfort being there. So many memories. Even though we were poor growing up, we had the seaside. Even in the winter time, it's great to play on the beach. Do you know Ramsgate's got the third best architecture in the country? It's a lovely place.
And are you still patron of the Sea Cadets?
I am, yes. I have to stand on a podium with the commander of the fleet. And as they got to me, they would go, right, eyes, left, what was it, that. I was so proud of them, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She ever teach Luke Armstrong?
No, there's no chance. She was only there 6 weeks. She's fantastic, and I think she's on the verge of national treasure status. I'm a huge kind of admirer of her work, and it's so kind of varied and diverse, and she's so kind of committed to it. It's a real lesson for a young actor.
Interview terminated, 11:05. You should watch Vera because the stories are great. They're from Anne Cleeve's novels. She's not an award-winning crime writer for nothing.
And it's got you in.
Yay!
Helen James in London for Meridian Tonight.
Well, that Vera programme looks really good, doesn't it? Looking forward to that. And now to another woman who knows all about success. Dee Caffari has just spent 102 days at sea with someone she hardly knew, competing in the Barcelona World Race. They were the only all-women team to take part, finishing in an impressive 6th place.
The race took them 25,000 miles around the world, setting off from the Spanish port on New Year's Eve and arriving back there last week. In crossing the finishing line, Dee sailed into the record books for the 3rd time. Well, we're pleased to say that Dee joins us now in the studio. Dee, a long time at sea with somebody you barely knew. So how did you and Anna Corbea get on?
A lot better than we anticipated. As you know, before I left, I told you I was a little bit nervous about spending a long time in a very small space with somebody, as you say, that I didn't really know. But we had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of smiles, and it was actually quite nice sharing the adventure with somebody at the time. So we finished full of smiles as well.
Absolutely. 14 boats started, not all finished, of course. What sort of problems did you encounter?
Well, it wasn't easy going. You know you're always going to have problems and you're going to have to overcome different challenges. And you see other people, very good teams on very good, well-prepared boats, stopping due to damage, and it makes you realise that actually you're quite vulnerable. And we did really, really well until quite close to the finish. Just 3 weeks before the finish, I had structural damage that I had to repair. And if I didn't do the repair, we weren't going to get to the finish line. So the pressure was on. And my boat building experience isn't that great, but it's now very good. I did a very good apprenticeship in carbon repairs.
But you've been around the world 3 times now. You have to tell us, what's your burning ambition? What do you have to do now?
Well, apart from a little R&R, now I'm at home and enjoying the creature comforts of dry land. I want to go and do it again, believe it or not.
So do it for a 4th time?
I'm progressing all the time. I'm getting better and I'm loving every minute of it. And I think while I'm still enjoying it, while I'm still competitive and getting good at it, I want to keep going. So my fingers are crossed that I can be on the start line of the Vendée Globe, the single-handed round the world race in 2012, but I need to fund it now.
We'll wait to see what happens. Good luck. Thanks for coming in, Dee.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Much of the merchandising around the royal wedding is pretty predictable. Commemorative coins and stamps, you know, that type of thing.
But some of it is a bit more surprising. Souvenir tea bags, anyone? A royal wedding app for your iPhone. And then, on sale at a Kent Pottery, a collection of plates that's distinctly off the wall, like their creator, Vic Reeves. Here's John Ryle.
Around the time that Prince William and Kate Middleton announced their wedding date, Vic Reeves started taking pottery lessons.
Sometimes it looks like you've done them extra smooth, which is the joy. And then somehow go, oh, he's a ridgy one here.
At the Aylesford Pottery in Kent, Alan Parrish taught him how to make plates and vases. Then there was a disturbing development. Vic decided to create some distinctive royal wedding souvenirs.
What I'm achieving is a plate for the happy couple to have the crumpets off in the morning.
And he's sending a set to the newlyweds.
I think they'll be quite pleased.
As a wedding present from him and his wife, model and actress Nancy Sorrell.
I have been watching him do these every day and I love them, and I think that Will and Kate are going to love them too.
But he didn't stop at plates.
This is a royal wedding vase that I made. William and Kate enjoying their wedding evening. At the street party I'll serve up Pimm's in this, but it'll be Northern Pimm's, which has potatoes and carrots floating in it. And then on the back, look, good luck. Here we've got a man being pursued by a haystack. And there's William being pursued by Catherine into the house there. That's probably what it looks like around their way, I would imagine.
Are you nervous about sending these, though?
I think they'd like it. I think they could put the cakes on there and be quite happy. Put the chips on, yeah. Egg and chips. Egg there, chips round here. And then perhaps his nan might say, you're not leaving the table until I can see your face.
Yeah, they definitely are distinctive.
They are. Bill and Kath, and I don't think that John Ryle, our reporter there, knew what to make of the creations, but well done, Vic Reeves.
A fine creation himself. Here is Luke. Luke, very much enjoying this weather at the moment.
And I'm bringing you lots of lovely weather, aren't I?
Yeah,
25 degrees in Gatwick today, the top spot in our region. 22, 23 in Oxfordshire, 20 to 23 on the south coast, around 22 degrees in Kent. It has been a lovely April, hasn't it? And we've had lots of viewers' pictures as well, just to sum up what the weather's like. This is Eastbourne Beach. Thank you to Axel Taylor for that. The ponies taking a well-earned drink at Greenham Common in Berkshire today. Thank you to 14-year-old Hannah Benson for that.
Wow.
And the bluebells in full bloom at Ida near Rye in East Sussex. Thank you to Rod Stewart for that one. Not the Rod Stewart.
No, but Rod's a regular with his pictures, isn't he?
He is, yeah. So lovely pictures.
It's an ideal opportunity, so keep getting out there and clicking away and send them in.
Yeah, do send them in. meridianweather@itv.com.
Brilliant. Luke, thank you very much. Well, let's find out what's happening with the weather. It's all good news, isn't it? Here he is, Luke Castiglione.
You can't choose the weather, but you can choose the right trade or service provider for you. Checkatrade.com sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Well, it was another fantastic day today, and we're keeping the high pressure right into the Easter weekend as well. Another lovely, warm and sunny day tomorrow, a touch cooler down on the coast, and there is always the risk of an isolated shower, but nothing to ruin the lovely weather into the Easter weekends. Now, this is the satellite image from earlier today. You'll see hardly a cloud in the sky today, allowing all that sunshine in. Just fair weather cloud, really. It really was another lovely afternoon today. Now, under the clear skies tonight, we'll see temperatures drop down to single figures again, perhaps a touch of mist and murk, but that will burn away in tomorrow morning's glorious sunshine again, and those temperatures building rapidly as we head towards the afternoon. Cooler on the coast with this southeasterly inshore breeze, but inland 24 degrees, that's 75 in Fahrenheit, and a touch of an isolated shower, just a small chance really for Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire. Now, for the outlook, a largely dry, warm and sunny story right through the Easter weekend. Just the risk of an isolated shower on any of those 3 days, but it's going to stay settled and rather warm into next week as well.
Checkatrade.com, where reputation matters.
Well, enjoy the sunshine this evening. That's all from us. Sangeeta will be back with the late news around 10:30. In the meantime, from all of us here, have a very lovely evening.
Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
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 There now follows a party political broadcast by the Conservative Party.
They borrowed on a scale not seen since the war. They doubled the national debt, leaving us with the worst deficit in the G20. They presided over the first run on a bank in 150 years. They left us spending £120 million every day on the interest on their debt. More than we spend on schools or defence or the police. They brought Britain to the brink of bankruptcy. You can't trust Labour with the economy.
When we came into government last year, we had some big problems to deal with right from the start. But right from the start, we wanted to be different. Really sorting out the economic mess that we were left with. It was like the nation's credit card had been maxed out, and we needed to deal with it. And also, I really wanted us to sort out some of the problems that we've been stuck with in this country for years. I won't say we've got everything right, but we are making progress. In a few years' time, we'll have balanced the books. We're cutting taxes and red tape so businesses can start and grow and create new jobs. We've capped immigration. We have protected the funding of our National Health Service. And we're reforming welfare so we end that benefits culture once and for all and make sure that work will always pay. We're getting there, but I know that people have concerns about the future. They're worried about a difficult year ahead, and we hear that. That's why in the recent budget, we cut fuel duty to make filling up at the pumps that little bit easier. Council tax has been frozen to help with families' bills. The basic state pension is now being increased in line with earnings to give pensioners the dignity and the security that they deserve. And we've increased tax credits to the least well-off families in our country. That is what Conservatives do in government. We roll up our sleeves and get the job done. And that's what Conservative councils are doing all over the country. On average, they charge less tax than Labour or Liberal Democrat councils, while still providing great services for their residents. So the choice on May the 5th is clear. Don't let Labour do to your council what they did to our country. If you want good, effective, common sense local government, then vote Conservative.
That was a party political broadcast by the Conservative Party.